and Karen Bass have already proven their incompetence and poor leadership during the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, as we experience rampant lawlessness and civil unrest, it's never been more clear.
Tyrus.
What I saw,
Yeah.
what it looked to me like he was negotiating with a deaf prostitute.
Picture this. Mel Gibson storms in like he's auditioning for Mad Max Governor Edition. Tyrus follows, fresh out of WWE SmackDown, and poor Gavin Newsom suddenly finds himself the main course at a roast nobody ordered. These two didn't just call him out, they basically mailed him a Dear John letter drenched in sarcasm. Buckle up, this isn't politics as usual. It's Hollywood chaos colliding with a heavyweight reality check.
Well, and I asked my fellow Angelinos, why are Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass still in office? How much more of their destructive decision-making masquerading as leadership are we going to tolerate? It's time to take back our community and our state and put the power and the privilege in the hands of competent leaders whose goals are to protect us and the way of life this nation will.
Before we move on, smash that like button and subscribe. You don't want to miss this one. Mel Gibson has never been the guy to quietly sip tea in the corner. No, he's the guy who kicks down the door, flips the table, and tells you the tea is poisoned while glaring into your soul. And now, his latest masterpiece doesn't involve swords, battle paint, or priests. It stars the walking shampoo commercial himself, Gavin Newsom.
Watch the tape.
Yes.
He literally goes, I want some of this, then you do some of this, and I'll do some of that back to you, and then we'll do this, and then I'll pay you, and then we'll do it again.
True.
And then she kept saying, no. Okay, how about this? You do this one first, then we do this one, then we give a little back and forth.
Yes, California's governor, the man who looks like he was sculpted from marble by someone armed only with hair gel and smugness, is now dragged into a storyline even Hollywood couldn't script. He's built like a refrigerator with opinions, the kind of guy who could fold a folding chair just by sitting on it. If Gibson is the chaos grenade, Tyrus is the anvil. Together, they've formed a tag team that doesn't just call out Newsom, they leave him looking like an extra in his own political soap opera. And you know you've really messed up when your toughest critics aren't rival politicians, but one of Hollywood's most unfiltered icons and a wrestler turned commentator who carries himself like he's allergic to nonsense.
About anything? I think there's about 100 other reasons too.
Well, you can't, it's not his words when he speaks.
Yeah.
You have to watch him closely. And some genius decided not to film him any lower than the shoulder.
Yes, did you? Yes.
So what did he do?
You couldn't see the hands.
No, but he sent more.
So why is Newsom in the hot seat? Simple. He runs California like an overpriced amusement park. Rides broken, bathrooms locked, but parking still costs $50. And instead of fixing anything, he's out there polishing his smile like it's a trophy. Mel and Tyrus had enough of the circus. They didn't just throw shade, they built a full eclipse.
The LA Mayor Karen Bass, well, they were also suggesting that LA was under control. They had it covered while, of course, LA was essentially burning. And they've been blaming Donald Trump for all the chaos in LA, while Gavin Newsom has been trying to emerge as the strong leader of the Democrats as he eyes off the presidency in 3 years' time. But actor Mel Gibson has spoken out, blasting the governor and the mayor, rightfully so, for their disastrous leadership.
Mel Gibson's angle is obvious. He spent decades in Hollywood watching phonies climb to the top by faking sincerity. And nothing screams phony louder than Newsom posing as the golden boy of progressive politics, while his state looks like a dystopian Netflix backdrop. Gibson probably looks at Newsom and thinks, I've played villains less cartoonish than this guy. If Gibson roasts with surgical precision, Tyrus bulldozes through like a freight train of sarcasm. And here's the kicker. This isn't just about political missteps. It's about the image. Newsom struts around like a wannabe presidential candidate, hair slicker than an oil spill, practicing his serious leader face like he's auditioning for a soap opera president. Meanwhile, California is the place where deodorant gets locked behind glass and tent cities battle Starbucks for real estate. It's Gotham minus Batman, and Mel Gibson has officially had enough.
Yeah.
He's negotiating with the deaf prostitute.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's just stick with that.
Yeah.
More likely.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people have been coming out and calling out
Gavin Newsom endlessly, and the biggest one of all is Mel Gibson. We all know that he is a very big, open critic of Gavin Newsom, and he continues to actually do that, and rightfully so, because we already know that there's a lot of issues going on right now within the
Picture this. Gibson calls out the chaos. Tyrus doubles down with a smirk that screams, "Yeah, we see you." And Newsom stands there like a prom king whose crown just got stolen. The humiliation isn't just the call out, it's that the whole thing feels like the roast of the century. When Hollywood madness and wrestling grit team up to mock you, your politics have officially gone full meme. California now looks like the political version of a pothole-ridden road, expensive to fix, painful to drive on, and ignored by the guy meant to maintain it. The beauty? Gibson's not even polite. He's hurling cinematic-sized insults. Tyrus plays hype man, nodding along and dropping comedic body slams. Together, they don't just call Newsom out, they shove him into a spotlight so bright it makes the Hollywood red carpet look dim. The irony? Newsom always wanted to be the star, flashing that perfect smile and slick one-liners.
His house in these wildfires. Yeah. And what you just saw there was an effort to recall the governor and Mayor Bass. Does his star power in this matter?
It matters in the sense we're playing it now on national television on a highly rated Fox and Friends first show, and that has gone viral on social media. And meanwhile, the same day that Mel Gibson says what he says there, and he's correct on so many things as far as the management of wildfires, Gavin Newsom's approval on the handling of the wildfires is only 30%.
Instead, Gibson and Tyrus cast him as the villain in their roast special. Not Darth Vader, more Scooby-Doo bad guy. Pull off the mask, and it's just some dude running a scam on the town. That's the sting. Newsom thought he was auditioning for president, but ended up as the comic relief in someone else's act. If there's one thing he does better than running California into the ground, it's pretending he isn't. He struts around like the lead in a Netflix political drama. But instead of intrigue and competence, it's just endless shots of him combing his hair while potholes multiply like rabbits. Gibson can look at dystopia and say, too much? Yet somehow Newsom crosses into parody. Then comes Tyrus, dropping his verbal elbow from the top rope. No fancy phrasing, just calling it what it is. A disaster in hair gel. His whole brand is being allergic to nonsense, and Newsom radiates it. Watching Tyrus tear in is like watching a pit bull with a chew toy shaped like a politician. No hesitation, no mercy. Just squeaking plastic and shredded dignity.
The blinking. Blink, look, meet me at the house. Like, he's blinking. He's sending, I'm getting there. Hey, just so you know, I'm not wearing pants.
Ew.
And then, look, he's blinking. And then eventually, the camera guy realizing that he's signaling him, so he gets appalled, leans back, camera comes down, and then we're back to this. I'll do this for you. You do this for me a little. So he's saying whatever he's going to say. There it is. See, they couldn't hold him back. He's like, I'm not on film. Oh, I'm not. Nope.
What really makes it hilarious is how Newsom probably thought he was untouchable here. Politicians expect rivals. Maybe a late-night jab, not Mel Gibson and Tyrus. That's a whole different league. Gibson calls him out with all the subtlety of a car chase explosion. Tyrus follows by pointing out this isn't just about California, it's about the absurdity of a man eyeing the Oval Office while his state looks like a survival show where nobody wins. California is supposed to be the land of dreams. Movies, beaches, glitz. Under Newsom, it's a theme park called The Collapse. Admission's free if you're homeless, overpriced if you're not, and the only ride working is the one that takes you out of the state. That's not just funny, it's devastating. Gibson's lived long enough in Hollywood to know the difference between a blockbuster and a flop. And right now, California isn't even straight to DVD quality. It's straight to YouTube fail compilation. The roast works because of the contrast. Gibson storms in with fiery intensity, like he might grab a sword and lead a charge down the 405. Tyrus drops the hammer, reminding everyone that great hair doesn't hide bad leadership. It just makes the collapse look prettier on camera. You can almost picture Newsom backstage, watching clips of the roast, running his fingers through his hair to make sure not a single strand is out of place.
Well, speaking of full of I'm sorry, I'm confused. He's still governor, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So he could do something about it. That's the most irritating thing, is like, why did anyone say with a follow-up where he's like, the homeless situation is ridiculous? Follow-up question, aren't you governor?
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference. That's the difference between the radical left and President Trump. He'll talk about something as
Because once you're reduced to a punchline, all that's left is the illusion of control. And for Newsom, that illusion comes in a shiny, blow-dried package. The beauty of this whole spectacle is how it exposes him for what he really is, a man who mistakes appearance for substance. He's like a knockoff designer bag, looks fancy from a distance, falls apart the second you use it. Sure, he's skated past scandals before, lockdown dinners, policy failures swept under the rug, endless TED Talk speeches for people who hate facts. But when Mel Gibson, whose rants are Hollywood legend, turns you into his target and Tyrus piles on with heavyweight snark, suddenly that carefully crafted image starts looking like a costume falling apart on stage. The brilliance is in the timing. Just as Newsom was polishing his presidential ambitions, auditioning for the big role, Gibson and Tyrus dropped a reality check so savage it made his audition tape look like a blooper reel. Instead of striding onto the national stage as a contender, he's stumbling around as the butt of the joke. Two unlikely critics ripping away the one thing he values most, his image.
Masquerading as leadership are we going to tolerate? It's time to take back our community and our state and put the power and the privilege in the hands of competent leaders whose goals are to protect us and the way of life this nation was founded upon and promises to offer. That's all.
And the humiliation isn't leaving anytime soon. Gibson and Tyrus didn't just roast Newsom in passing, they built a playbook for tearing down the myth. No policy lectures, no drawn-out debates, just sharp tongues, humor, and the nerve to say what everyone else is already thinking. The emperor isn't just unclothed. He's drenched in overpriced hair gel and flashing a smirk. Now the world sees it. That's not confidence. It's delusion on steroids. Gibson doesn't even need to break a sweat. After decades in Hollywood, he can spot when someone's reciting lines they didn't write. And Newsom's entire persona feels stitched together by interns who thought America's biggest worry was whether their leader's smile could survive a hurricane. Gibson sees a performance so shallow, even straight-to-DVD flicks have more depth. Meanwhile, Tyrus treats the President Newsom pitch like a comedy skit. He doesn't just knock it down, he pile drives it into the ground and flexes on top.
He's playing with us. Meet me at my house. You get mine. I get yours. It'll work out.
Paul, are they capable of soul searching? It feels like the party itself has no soul.
Yeah, I know, they have no soul. You know, it's a really interesting statement if you just kind of, you can break it in two. He spends the whole first part of that saying, we lost because this. Essentially what he says is, folks, we were on the wrong side of every issue.
To Tyrus, the idea of Newsom running the country is like letting the guy who crashed the golf cart pilot the space shuttle. Sure, it's funny for 5 seconds, then you're just bracing for impact. And the resume? A blooper reel of California's worst hits. Homelessness spiraling, crime climbing, businesses fleeing. The best part? How Newsom handles criticism. He doesn't fix problems. He just doubles down on the I'm polished, so I'm right routine. It's like a kid trying to pass a spelling test by writing his name in glitter. Gibson cuts through the act with the fire of a man who's fought wars on screen and off. Tyrus calls it what it is, an act, and not even a good one. The kind of performance that would get booed off America's Got Talent before the second commercial break. Now picture him in a presidential debate. On one side, political heavyweights ready for 10 rounds. On the other, Newsom practicing his smirk in the mirror, praying the lighting makes him look sincere. Gibson would call it casting a background extra as the lead in an action movie. Tyrus? A mismatch so obvious it plays like satire, and the timing couldn't be worse. Newsom's been polishing his presidential image, testing the waters with smiles and handshakes. Then Gibson drops fire. Tyrus lands deadpan smackdowns. It's a content goldmine and a nightmare for a man clinging to his sheen. Worst of all, he can't fight back. Argue with Mel Gibson? Trade shots with a wrestler? Either way, he loses. Ignore them and the roast lingers. Respond and it escalates. That's checkmate, and Gibson and Tyrus are tightening the chokehold.